Hello everybody! I'm doing a movie review for a Rajinikanth movie, Sivaji the Boss. And this is the second movie in my 3 Rajinikanth series. The first one was Baasha, and I have a link in the description below for that review. You can check that out. And the third one is going to be Enthron, which is also known as Robot. And that one I'm doing because we're getting set up for Robot 2.0 coming out in this year, so I do want to see the first one, obviously, but I'll be doing that review when I get a chance to watch that one. I know it's been a while between my Baasha review and Sivaji, and I apologize for that. Things have been a bit crazy this year, and we've gotten a lot of more subscribers since I did the Baasha review. So a lot of you should check that out in preparation for this one or after this one. But I had a hard time finding this movie. There were a couple of places online that showed it. YouTube has it, but they don't have English subtitles. And I did find one that had Portuguese subtitles, and I could have had it translated by Google into English subtitles. But I didn't want to watch a movie that was in Tamil and then translated to Portuguese and then translated again to English. I would have lost a lot of stuff. So I was having a hard time finding one with English subtitles. I don't like watching dubbed movies. I prefer subtitles so I can get the performances and hear how it was said in the original language. But I did find a copy on DVD, and this one is pretty cool because it comes with a 2-disc set, so it has a special features disc in it that has Sivaji, 175-day celebration, and the making of Sivaji. So I will want to watch that at some point. I don't know if it has English subtitles on the special features. I haven't checked it out yet, but I will give it a shot because I love behind-the-scenes featurettes. Sivaji the Boss was directed and written by S. Shankar, and the music is by A.R. Rahman, and of course the actor is Rajinikanth, very popular actor in India. Some of you may know who he is. The reason I was doing these 3 Rajinikanth reviews was because of Kabali when it came out. I kind of wanted to know about him since I had not ever heard of him before. He's not popular in the United States, and so I wanted to get some of a background on him while I was watching Kabali and get a reference. So in the movie, Sivaji is a computer engineer who made his riches in the United States, and he had come back to his hometown in India to build schools and hospitals for common people that can't afford it. So a great reason to come home. He was a very likable character. However, there's a bad businessman that has schools and hospitals right now that's making profit, and giving away free schooling and hospitals is a very bad business model. It would take a lot of money away from that businessman. And this businessman also has the police and politicians in his pocket and uses that influence to block Sivaji from getting permits and building his buildings, all of his attempts to try and construct, always getting in the way. The politicians and police were constantly asking for bribes, which he fought at first until he couldn't get anything done, and then ended up giving up and doing the bribes just to get the permits and everything. But then the influence of the businessman comes back into play, and they end up changing a politician, and they're asking for more bribes. And then Sivaji ends up going to court to try and fight it, but they bring up the idea or the bribing to make it so he loses the court case and ends up losing all of his money in an attempt to build these schools and hospitals. The second half of the movie is Sivaji coming back and using the greed of these politicians, police, and the businessman against them to rebuild his riches so that he can build his schools and hospitals. Now, the tone changes at intermission, but we don't mind. And the reason is because you are so invested with this character in the story of what he's trying to do that when the tone changes, you want him to get payback. Like, you really want him to stick it to the bad guys and be able to build. You're rooting for him. So when the tone changes at the intermission, you're like, yeah, finally, we're going to get him back. So the story for me was my favorite part. I was emotionally involved with the characters, and I was rooting for them the whole time. I really wanted to see where the story would go. I was right there. However, there were some things that I didn't like. I did not like the action sequences. Tamil movies tend to have over-the-top action sequences, but I don't mind that as long as they're explaining it. Sometimes they have a god or a mythical creature or an animal that they get their strength from, and that's how they're able to do some of the over-the-top action scenes, which is fine. I mean, a lot of action movies have over-the-top action scenes. Look at all the Fast and Furious movies. Look at The Mechanic. Look at the Transporter movies. I mean, Expendables. They all have over-the-top action scenes. It's a common thing. It's not a big deal. However, they didn't give any reason why this computer engineer should be able to be an amazing fighter that can take on multiple guys at the same time. It's like, it's just all of a sudden he's able to be a great fighter. But they gave no reason why. He never had any training. He wasn't getting power from any creature or god or anything. He just happened to be that good of a fighter. I would have liked some kind of information that would explain why he could do that. Show him training and fighting somewhere, like as if that was his workout routine. Whatever, something really quick just to give us an explanation. I would have liked that. Also, the special effects that they were using at the time, it was more experimental, which is kind of the fault of the time era more than anything. You know, you had The Matrix come out, you had Blade. There were a lot of movies that were using CG to enhance their action scenes and also camera movements like the bullet time or freeze framing and all that stuff. And Sivaji utilized some of that, but it felt more like they were testing it out, like they hadn't figured out all the bugs, and so they were just trying things, and it didn't really work for me. So I didn't like the action scenes. That actually pulled me out of the story. They could have cut the action sequences and I would have been fine with it. Or he had other guys with him, kind of like a mob against mob, and then that would make more sense. I would have been okay with that too. But the way that they had them, I wasn't a big fan of the action scenes. The production design and location shots were good. Nothing super special, but nothing that pulled me out of the scenes either. So it wasn't bad and it wasn't amazing. It was just adequate and good for what they were trying to show, which most movies are. So I was happy with the production value. I was happy with the location shots. And the music video parts or the musical numbers looked really good. If anything, the musical numbers were shot better than some of the movie. Brighter colors, very vibrant. And I really liked the big guys in the first musical number that had the lion painted on their bellies. It gave me a laugh. I was like, yeah, for the big guys with lions on their belly. Now, based on everything I just said, I would give it a grade of a B-. However, there are some spoilers that I'm going to get to in the spoiler section, and it is going to downgrade my score a little bit to a C+. So if you want to know why it's a C+, watch the spoiler section. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want the spoilers, go watch it and see if you agree with me. But my overall score is going to be a C+. So now we're going to get into spoilers. Now this first part's not really a spoiler. I just like it. The little touch of him, you know, hitting his hand with the gum and it pops into his mouth. I like that. It's very simple, but like shows he's cool. And it reminded me of Jackie Chan in Armor of God in 1986 had done something very similar where he popped it into his mouth. And it was like one of his call signs. He would do that in a few movies, but the first time I remember it was the 1986 Armor of God movie. So every time I saw Sivaji do it, or Rajinikanth do it, it popped in my head. I was like, ah, Jackie Chan too. Sivaji ended up getting assassinated by the bad guys and the corrupt people and left for dead. But secretly he wasn't dead. But he let everyone think he was dead. And ended up leaving all of his money to himself under a different name, and then comes back as a different character, pretending to be a different character, with all of the money so he can build the schools and hospitals. I did not like the new character. The new character was basically this guy with the sunglasses, and he was bald, which the look is okay. The look is pretty good. He looks cool. He did this thing where he would tap the top of his head, which was kind of like the gum thing for the first character. But I didn't like his new character. He was unnaturally confident and kind of annoying. Not somebody I would want to hang out with or know personally. The first character, Sivaji, for most of the movie, was a very down-to-earth, grounded, great character that I would love to be friends with, and I would want to help. Like, I wanted him to help. I was rooting for that character. But the new guy, I didn't like him. I didn't want to know him, and I'm glad he wasn't on the screen for very long. And that was the reason why I downgraded my score just a little bit from a B- to a C+. But what did you guys think? Comment below and let me know your thoughts on Sivaji the Boss if you've seen it. If not, let me know if you're interested in seeing it or not, or just what your opinions are in general. Also, I wanted to say, go ahead and, if you want, hit the notifications bell so you can get notifications of any new videos and reviews that I have coming out, or go to the videos tab. You can see everything in the past that I've done in order of them being uploaded from the most recent back. So I've got some more reviews coming up for other movies that I've seen recently, more newer movies. And I've got my 4 year-end videos that I'm working on, my top 10 favorite or best movies of 2016 that I've seen, the top 10 worst movies of 2016, the movies that I'm most anticipated for in 2017, and movies I think are not going to be good, but I hope they will be good in 2017. That's probably going to be an interesting video. We'll see how that goes. But like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you on the next video.